don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, shit, it's on repeat. Ha-ha, it's because they were playing around with the music. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 265th episode of the Political Spotlight. Welcome, welcome. We are going to let a few people jump on here. Give me just a second. Alva has let us know that he won't be here. It's kind of like school. It's kind of like school. People feel like they have to notify me. Hey, folks, I love when you message me, and you're more than welcome to message me and tell me, like, hey, we won't be here tonight, but look, I know people's got lives, so you don't feel like you have to. Like, you won't break my heart. But it's good to be friends with our listeners. You know, we get active in our lives and know people. That way people feel so inclined to watch. I guess that's a good thing. So welcome, folks. If you're here via YouTube, please do the YouTube things. By the YouTube things, I mean, hit that like. If we get enough people to hit the like, I will get a haircut. I was actually at my grandparents' house today, and my grandma was like, you didn't get a haircut before you came here. And I was like, no, I didn't. And she was like, you need to go get a haircut? And I was like, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow's the day. I woke up early this morning. I ran over to my grandparents to see what they were doing, made sure everything was going smooth over there. Tomorrow, I don't have anything going on in the morning. I'm going to go in the morning. What a lot of people don't know is a lot of places, generally the cut hair, barbers, and even beauty shops are generally not open on Mondays. Yeah, you could go to like Supercuts or whatnot, but I don't go to some place like that. I've not been to like something like that since I've been 8 years old. So the big haircut will happen tomorrow. I'm going to shave tomorrow and get all this madness and monstrosity off, and we will be ready to go, so we won't have to talk about it for another several months. So haircut aside, please give us a like. Like I said, if we get so many likes, I'll definitely get it done. I'll just have to see how well you guys do by the end of the show. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. It doesn't cost you anything, and it allows you to then hit the bell, which sets up your notifications for the show. That's important, but more important than that are the last two things. We want you to interact with us. Please interact with us. Comment live. If you're watching live, you want to comment over there. If you're watching on repeat, comment down below. And then share the show with everyone you know. Now, I do want to throw out a little story here for everyone, just really briefly. I told you all last week that leading up to the Rainwater Town Hall, things had been chaotic and I hadn't really been responding back to people's emails and people been asking for stuff. I just today finally started catching up on all of those emails. Tomorrow, I hope tomorrow, GW, I tell you what, sometime tomorrow, GW, if you're watching, let me break over here to the comments. When you are watching, if you watch this, text me tomorrow. And if you text me, I will then recall and remember and send you some questions to send on to the gentleman that you have been asking me about. So do that. There are a couple of other folks that have asked me questions and whatnot, and I said that I would get back to them. I said I would do that after the rainwater town hall, so I'm in the process of answering all of those, and it's just going to take me a minute to get through them, but I will get to all of you. I know that there are a couple people that have left comments or questions in the comment section under the videos, and I have not responded to anything under the videos in about the last 2 weeks just because we've been so slammed. That's one of the things I'm going to do when I get off tonight is go through and get all of those things caught up. So we do get back to you. So that is a good way to communicate with us. If you don't have our phone number, you don't text or message or whatever. So we do respond. It might take a minute every now and then. If you need something straight away, if you've got breaking news, if you've got information, if you need help on something, if it's big, your best way to contact us is by email. And you can email me personally at khbilbrey@gmail.com, or you can email the program at tpsprogram at Gmail. So either one of those will be a good way to communicate with us. Both of those go to my phone. TPS program goes to Kate's phone, or at least she checks it periodically. So we all have access to that, and so we will get back with you. So what's new? What's new with Chew? A lot of things have been going on. We are kind of in a little bit of a flux period right now as we await getting some record requests, we hope, from Muncie. Let me check here real quick to see if I've received anything in the way of a message or whatnot from anyone that I had messaged via email from the city of Muncie. It does not look that way. It does not look that way. In just one moment, we're going to be bringing on a guest, and it's not really a guest. It's contributing correspondent Katherine Callahan. In just a few moments, we're going to be bringing her on to talk kind of about where we are with everything in Madison County. The name of tonight's episode is the Muncie Anderson Race to Insanity. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. See who can get there first. I think it's like neck and neck sometimes, you know. Before we get there, I do just briefly want to take a look at something here really quickly. This is just real short. I think it's about 3 minutes. So I want to knock this out of the way here if we can, just because I've been waiting to see what this looks like. We're going to look at the first Muncie City community update from the mayor of Muncie. And normally this would be released on Wednesday, but I think the mayor is out at some kind of conference all week. So their community update is released today. It's 3 minutes long. We're going to watch this and we're going to hear what he's got to say. Then we're going to bring Katherine on. We're going to talk about Madison County And then at the end of the episode, I have some updated information that pertains to the police officers saga, the police officer story that we were talking about last night. So that's kind of the agenda for tonight's show. But real quick, before we bring Katherine on, I do want to take a look at this Muncie City community update from Mayor Ridenour. Stand by 1 second.
Good morning, Muncie. Dan Ridenour here, your mayor. Today is Monday. It's August 19th. I'm filming this a little early so that we can get information out. I will be out of town at the mayor's conference Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we'll be putting this out a little early. Just wanted to make sure that I was able to give some of these updates. As many of you probably are very much aware, if you've been in grocery stores and seen the additional traffic, their students are back at Ball State. Classes start today. A lot of move-in, a lot of U-Hauls and Penske trailers that we're getting those students in. Well, classes start today for them. So we're very happy. Welcome to those students. And it's one of the great resources of our community. So we're very happy and enjoy Ball State. Ivy Tech has their fall kickoff. It's called Back to the 90s. That is this Thursday. It'll be from 1 to 5. They're also starting their classes. And Boomer will be there from 3:30 to 4:30 as well. So that'll be downtown at their Ivy Tech campus. Couple other things, not quite as much fun, but will be wonderful once completed. Tillotson is closing between University and Riverside, completely closed. You will not be able to get there.
How frequently are they going to tell us?
So you'll want to make a route. Now we've done releases on this. AEP has done releases on this. The Star Press has covered it. WLBC and Wolf Boom Radio have covered this. The Muncie Journal has covered this. Please be prepared. You're going to have to go around that section. You will not be able to get through. That will be on Tillotson between University and Riverside. That'll be starting today, August 19th, and it will run for about 4 weeks. Now you'll still be able to do eastbound and westbound traffic on those two streets, but you will not be able to head north on Tillotson or south on Tillotson, depending on where you are. We just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. The pickleball courts are open at Store Estates. The rest of the park is closed, but not quite finished, but the pickleball courts are open. So please, if you're a pickleball player, please go out to those new courts and enjoy one of our newest park. So we're happy about that. It's Thursday at 7:30 p.m. at Westside Park will be America's Hometown Band. There'll be a free concert, and so please go enjoy the music. They do such a great job, and we're very appreciative. The Muncie 3 Trails Music Series continues this weekend. That will be at Saturday at Cannon Commons. It will be continues this weekend. That will be at Saturday at Cannon Commons. It will the Muncie. They do such a great job, and we're very appreciative. The Muncie 3 Trails Music Series continues this weekend. That will be at Saturday at Cannon Commons. It will be the sensational Barnes Brothers. That will be at 7 p.m. is when that will begin. So please come downtown, enjoy some of the stores and the restaurants, and enjoy with friends. Bring your lawn chairs, enjoy it at Cannon Commons. It should be a great time. And then lastly, you're seeing houses. You might be seeing houses going up. We had talked about Whiteley neighborhood, but part of the Southern Terrace development that's going on, they are now building homes in Blaine Southeast, and also started construction of homes in the industry neighborhood. So again, these are more investments that we as a city and private investment is making in these neighborhoods. We're very excited about that and look forward to what that will bring as far as other housing options for people inside our community. So that's it for this week. I will get with you next week and hope you have a great time. Bye.
Cheers. Yay. That's fun. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the City of Muncie Mayor's community update for the people. Wasn't much to talk about, but it was what it was. We will talk a little bit about that at the end of tonight's episode as we talk about the City of Muncie and we talk about the issue with the police officers, and we give you a little bit more information. But without further ado, we're going to bring on our contributing correspondent, Dr. Katherine Callahan, and take a listen to what's going on in the Anderson, Madison County area. Hello.
Listen, I'm sharing your stuff all over, so
I
I'm
see
getting
ya.
all these responses.
I saw you doing that down there. That's good. Hey, that's always very good. And
Your hair's looking fantabulous.
yeah, you like that? You like that?
I like it.
I love it.
We'll get you some little pigtails soon.
Right. Yeah, right.
So, anyways, life
Teresa,
is good. How about you?
Hold on. Teresa says, can't be taking credit for private investment if you don't want to take responsibility when it fails. That's something that people oftentimes forget. And by people, I mean politicians. And by politicians, I specifically mean Dan Ridenhour. So, yeah, Teresa, that's definitely something to consider. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. It's been a long, I think, when were you here last? You were here last Monday?
No, I was here last Wednesday when I filed against.
Oh, that's right.
Slick Willie.
That's right. That's right. You were here Wednesday night, and we talked about what you were filing, and we went over all of that. And then when was it that you actually appeared in the newspaper?
Okay, no, so wait a minute. 10 days ago on that Wednesday, and then I appeared. It was funny because I got a phone call from Ken Delabastide, and that was on Thursday.
Tell me how you say his name.
Ken Delabastide. I won't say the real name.
I don't know what I don't know what his name is either. I stumbled through it, but okay. I just wanted to make sure that's what you were saying.
And so yeah, it's Ken Delabastide, and so he calls me and he says, "Hey, I just found out Tuesday that you filed a complaint at the election board." I'm thinking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm thinking that's not a very on top of the election investigative reporter, I would think. I would have thought, so I said, well, it's been all over social media. He goes, yeah, I don't do social media. Well, that's funny because a lot of times when Sean Smith or somebody posts, like, or Madison County Government Accountability, it's in his articles.
Yeah, right.
So I don't really understand where we're headed with this. So anyways, he calls me and he says, hey, he says, the first thing he pretty much says is, well, did you look at everybody's campaigns? I said, I looked at a fair amount of them. He said, well, don't you have a problem with the Democrats? Thinking to myself. So I said to him, I said, well, if you know the Democrats are doing this, you're an investigative reporter. Why aren't you reporting on this?
Did Ken have a problem with the Democrats? Has he reported
his
on the Democrats?
Was, everybody does it. So why do I have a problem with it? That's what his question to me was. Well, everybody does it. What's your problem with it?
Dude, this is what's absolutely insane to me is the fact that these people say shit like that. It's literally people say, well, this is the way we've always done it. This is everybody does this. What's the matter? Well, this is what goes on. Why do you care? What do you mean?
Yeah. I mean, this is a huge problem.
Here's the deal. Shame on us. We haven't been calling everybody out. We're starting pick a point on the donkey here, and we're going to go from here forward. So we'll deal with this. If he knew that everybody had been doing this, then they should have done that. The other thing is when you first told me this the other day, it enraged me because, first of all, this is not the way it's just always been done. They only started doing this 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Doing it the proper way. So
because we can go back 7 years, right? So I went back 7 years. This started 5 years ago. And so I didn't, if I hear another person in Madison County get on one of my feeds and tell me to get a real job, here's a newsflash. I have a real job. But at this point, I think it is all of our number one job is to make sure that elected officials are doing what elected officials should be doing.
Yeah.
That is a job.
It's yeah.
I mean, although it's kind of a hobby for me now because I never thought when we ran for coroner that I was getting into this ring of fire. And right before I came on here, it was Johnny Cash. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that fits it perfectly. This is a ring of fire. I mean, every time you turn around, another explosion is going off. I got to bring this up. I got a phone call this weekend, and this was a funny phone call. So Elwood had a glass factory this weekend.
You
Or
mean
glass, like a, I don't know.
glass,
it's their
glass
big-
days?
Yeah, glass
big
days.
parade, their big celebration.
So people said, "Hey, Catherine, did you know the Republicans had a booth out at the glass celebration?" Like, no, I wasn't aware. They said, "Why, yes." And I guess they just called people and asked them instead of having a sign up.
Yeah.
You know, and then Kelly Hewer wants to run around and say, "Oh, I'm uniting the parties. I just want us to all sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya." But she is just as bad as Russ Willis. She is just a
Well,
Russ
sure.
Willis in
That's
female
who's
clothing.
trained her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she is just trifling. There is no other way for me to put it. You want to talk about somebody who can smile to your face and stab you in the back multiple times. That is Kelly Hewer. And anybody who thinks that she should be in charge of this Republican Party is crazy. She needs to go. All the guards need to go. They all have to be changed. There's no way around this. So, and I'm sure Kelly Hewer is going to say, "I don't follow social media. I didn't have anything to do with Catherine's flyer." Well, I'm here to call it. Kelly, you are leading the pack. When you decided to close up the fair and not allow us to work the Republican booth, you showed you have nothing in you of integrity and unity. You need to step down and go away. That is, there's no other way for me to put it. This is horrible. And so as I'm watching this whole thing unfold, and I'm just appalled that the paper does not seem to believe that they should have to report on somebody and say stuff to me. Now, yes, I was fully aware when I was interviewed by the paper about other parties, but you know, remember how we had talked about the Women's Lincoln Club or
Well,
Women's Republican Party?
wait. What do you mean you were aware of other parties?
When Ken was asking me these questions, he, you know, of other parties not itemizing, right? But I wasn't going to do all of Ken's work for him.
Yeah.
So, like anything, if you don't ask me the right question, I'm not going to answer you completely.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really interested in what I had to say. What he was interested is there's other parties that were doing it. So I'm like, yeah, there's other parties that are doing it, but they fall under a different category.
Well, sure.
So I kind of wrote the notes over in the side comment.
Give me 1 second. I'm getting it pulled up here. I did Kate's little trick last time, and we'll have this pulled up here.
It's like the Herald Bulletin's whole goal is to make me look like, and I think where Ken was really headed with this is that my only attention is on Russ Willis. Oh, well, here's a news flash. My only attention is definitely on Russ Willis.
Yeah, right. I guess
he's
my
the head of the
question
snake.
Why is Ken's attention not on Russ Willis? You know, like it might be helpful. It might be helpful if his attention could be on Russ Willis for a minute. You know what I mean?
I don't get paid to do this. Ken gets paid to do this.
Right.
This is his job.
Right.
You know,
right.
And that's why I don't understand why he's, you know, he's in Ken's like, they've been doing it for years. He's known about it for years. Well, shame on the Herald Bulletin.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and that's the whole big thing with all of this. But does everybody understand that the Lincoln Club is not the Republican Party?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a
That's
Russ Willis entity only.
Yeah, so it's important. It's important that folks. It's just a political action committee. So like in Delaware County, you have 214, the Democratic Party, and you have the Republican Party, and they're both just really shitty right now. They're just both have various different shittiness for various reasons. And in every county, you have the Republican Party and a Democrat Party, however big or small they are. At the state level, you have a Republican and a Democrat Party. But then you have political action committees. Everybody knows when you hear a political action, when you hear a political commercial for president or for governor, and you hear someone say, this ad is paid for and authorized by the candidate, or paid for by the committee to elect Kristopher Bilbrey to dog catcher. Those are ads paid for by the candidate or paid for by people who donate. But every now and then you'll hear commercials. A lot of times you'll hear commercials that will say, and it's mostly the attack ads. It's mostly the commercials that are saying, like, if Katherine and I are running against each other, there would be an ad that would say, Katherine Callahan kills dogs, and Katherine is a monster and beats children, and she drinks, and she's the one that killed Mary Jo Kopechne and Chappaquiddick, just all sorts of. And then at the end it'll say this ad not paid for or endorsed by any candidate or party or candidates committee. It's because a political action committee has paid for that ad. And anybody can have a political action committee. I've had a political action committee before, and basically a political action committee it's basically like the committee around a candidate, but there's just no candidate, and you can have it, and it can do any number of things. It can allow you to collect money and put money out in ads and literature and in other ways to either support a candidate or a grouping of candidates. Or what's funny and fun with a political action committee is you can start a political action committee that will allow you specifically to dog another person that's running or a group of people. And so in Madison County, you have the Republican Party, which Russ Willis is the head of, and that needs to stop. They need to cut that head of the snake off. But then outside of the Republican Party, there is a couple Republican PACs. You have the Lincoln Club, which is Russ Willis, and the Reagan Club, I think. Is that right?
Gaskell.
And that's Gaskell. And those are just political action committees that can take in money, but like a candidate, they have to completely go down and write how they pull the money in and where they send money out to, and they have to be very specific with it.
But I think Gaskell, he does his at the state level, so it's a little more on the up and up, where Russ keeps it right here in the county, and Russ doesn't have anybody look at it. He says he looks at every one of them. And so, what floors me is that Olivia Pratt and Linda Smith both have signed off on these forms for the last 5 years. Now, they want to argue that that's their stamp. Well, here's a newsflash. If you've got people using your stamp that are not going to be honest and just stamp your name, now you got an even bigger problem. So that excuse of it's just my stamp, that's not going to work. And here's the thing. We mentioned Cummings, we mentioned Dudley, we mentioned all these high profile people who were donating to the Lincoln Club.
Yeah.
I want it to be clear that if these people continue to donate to the Lincoln Club and Russ does not itemize, you will now face a Class B misdemeanor.
Yeah.
You cannot donate if you knowingly know they do not itemize.
And listen, people might say, woo, a Class B misdemeanor. The issue here is it's still illegal. It's still a criminal charge. And those things add up. It's still something that, you know, I wouldn't want to screw with. I wouldn't want to do that. And just, you know, the bottom line is here. I always like to say, if they're willing to do wrong in this, this thing that's pretty simple and it would be easy to do right in,
white lies turn into really big lies.
Absolutely. If they're willing to do wrong here, what else are they willing to do wrong in? And when you're talking about collecting money and money coming in and money going out, there is a lot of potential for corruption to occur there. There's potential for theft to occur. There's potential for fraud to happen. There's lots of criminal element issues that attach themselves to collecting of money. That's the reason it's so controlled in the manner that it is, and that's the reason that there are criminal charges if you don't do this stuff the right way. You know, if you look at what's going on, if I don't know how many people are aware of the situation that's going on playing out in Indianapolis right now, between Indianapolis and Evansville. That nutter, just complete crazy lunatic, Gabe Whitley, who has ran for like the mayor of Evansville, and he's ran for the 7th Congressional District Congress seat in Indianapolis. And what he's done is he has opened up a bunch of fraudulent credit cards in various people's names and donated to himself. And he's lied about donations, and he's done all of this. And the FBI came in and searched his home in connection with that and some other things that he was doing. But he's getting ready to be charged with serious felonies over this stuff. And so if Russ keeps dicking around with this, you know, it wouldn't be too hard for someone to rack up a felony.
You have to get a prosecutor who's willing to take a stance.
That's
where we're struggling in Madison County. And you know what, quite frankly, I don't really care. I've never really had much interactions with Cummings, but the more that's getting peeled back, the more he has failed the people. And so that's just how I feel about it. If he wants to tell me otherwise, well, look at this county. These elected officials are completely out of control, and it's just getting worse the further we get into this. I don't even know why he had to refer Joswiak's to the state police. Clearly, it's on video. He didn't allow him in there. Why are you wasting taxpayer time and dollars? Why are you wasting good police, time when clearly it was violated? File the charges and get on.
So back up on this real quick, because I didn't know this. So tell me what had happened with that.
So the prosecutor Cummings, so the election board referred this onto the prosecutor's office that it needed to be investigated by not letting Joswiak in there.
Yes.
Well, Rodney gave it to the state police.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why he did. And I'm going to point a finger at Rob Joswiak here for a second, because I know that he's heard me say this. I have said repeatedly, I've told people to tell Rob this. Cummings, listen, we can't allow them to delay the process by being ignorant of the process. I have said repeatedly that Rob, not Larry, Rob, the victim, needed to go have a police agency do a report. If Rob would have listened to that, and Rob would have went to Anderson, or Rob would have went to the sheriff's department, or he would have went to the Indiana State Police, and he would have filed a report the way I told him, then that step would have been out of there. See, people don't understand the prosecutor's office. In order for the prosecutor's office to file charges in the state of Indiana, they have to operate off of a generated police report.
But here's what I'm going to say.
Technically, in that case,
why
what
can't they
Cummings
generate
is doing
that?
is right.
I mean, they're sitting here watching all of this take place.
I understand
why
that.
can't the prosecutor generate something? You don't see them in the election
because they can't be a witness in their own case. So they have to have a police agency to create I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. That's the
No,
reason I harped on that for so long. From the time this popped up, I kept and it was great what Larry did, but Larry wasn't the victim.
Right.
The victim, Larry could go fill out thousands of reports, but the victim needed to do it. Rob was the victim.
And people are asking, like, oh, here you're on this rampage about Russ. No, what people need to understand is that in 2020, I was the campaign treasurer for Troy Abbott for coroner. I was the treasurer. So I'm the one who was writing those checks. I know what my expenditures say. We had an expenditure go out to the Lincoln Club. He never recorded it. And I'll be honest with you, had Russ not come after me the way that he has, and I mean, Russ is the one that started all this. He's the one that was going through people's campaign finances. He was the one picking on people. He was the one finding people. Okay, well then, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yep.
Bring it on.
When you push a dog into a corner, sometimes you're going to get bit.
Yeah. And so and Cindy's asking, what about Beeman, about him filing? I mean, they can go file with Beeman, but he's again not the victim.
Well, yeah. So again, generally the sheriff of the department, the head guy, is not the one that's writing reports. His deputies would be. And I guess Beeman could direct a deputy to come take a statement from Rob, but generally speaking, and listen, it's not, look, I'm not mad at Rob, and Rob's a good guy. I'm just saying, all the time that Rob is spending this, he's obviously wanting it to go someplace. So I just feel like people don't understand how it works. They just assume that the police does this or the prosecutor does this, and there has to be a process that has to go through the steps. And if you miss a step in that space, it delays everything and it just kicks everything down the road. And so, Beeman could have directed that, but in all of the time that Rob was up here dealing with this, all he needed to do was talk to a cop. That's all he needed to do was talk to a cop at some point.
Well, technically, he did talk to a cop who was standing when he was coming into the election.
Door.
I mean, he did technically, if we want to get into semantics.
Yeah, right.
and people keep asking me, they're like, why are you going after the elected clerk, Linda Smith? Well, again, this is a personal reason. Everybody who's watching this show, I'm not going to mince words. When I filed against Todd Culp for not filling out his paperwork accurately, that he did not put the initials and follow Indiana code, and Linda Smith turned a blind eye to it, she proved to me right then and there she will never be for the people. Never. Yeah. She will never be for them. And she has proven to me that she can be bought and sold. She has proven to me that she will never speak. I mean, Cindy Ponchett sat there and asked her, who has the code access to these machines? Not one time did she answer Cindy. She evaded the question and then she changed the subject. She was asked more than once. So she's not the only one holding the codes. There is something seriously wrong with these machines in Madison County. And if anybody says I'm a conspiracy theorist, I am not. Look at their actions. Yeah. Listen to what they are saying. Look at how they avoid. Well, look at Russ Willis speaking under his breath. We've got to stop this.
Yeah.
To do something.
That's probably the most damning thing ever. That one video is wild because that has to make him so mad that got caught and that he got caught doing that, because that makes him look so bad.
It's all there. It's all,
and the buck stops with her. There she
does. Right. The buck stops with Linda, and then Cindy was asking about voter registrations, and Linda Smith clearly threw that right onto Russ and Terry Austin, the Democrat chair, and she says that's totally their responsibility. Who looks over that department, Linda? You do.
Yeah.
I mean, this
her
constant,
answer blew my mind.
yeah, it's just unbelievable. And I'm sick of her staff trying to defend her. Go
Yeah.
ahead, because you're going down the same ship she is. That
Yeah.
ship is on fire, people. I get it.
Yeah.
You're trying to help her bail water. But I'm telling you right now, the deeper we get into this, the more you're going to be in that line of fire and go on
Yeah.
that ship with her.
Yeah.
I
Now,
mean, that's the reality. And I want to make it clear to people, because people are like, oh, if they resign, I don't care if you resign. You're still accountable.
yeah, right.
I
Right.
mean, it is what it
And you
is.
still allowed all this to happen. Like,
Yeah.
great, you resigned. You can't do any more harm, but you still have to answer for what you've done.
Yeah. You don't get to just get a free pass and walk away.
Really, really briefly, I just want to answer a couple questions. Cindy asked, does he have to have a warrant for an arrest? Yes. I mean, in this situation, there would need to be a warrant issued, and that would all go through the prosecutor's office. Kevin Finter Sr. said a cop helped to deny him. They don't go against their own. Well, look, an Anderson cop made a full report out for Larry Savage for the same issue. So I would say if Rob Joswiak would just go to that officer that made the report out for Larry, he would get a report. I mean, the report's not going to be hard.
In the defense of the officer at the door,
yeah,
they really believed in Russ, that Russ knew what he was doing, right? He's been at this for a decade or more.
That's the problem.
The only people who know that Russ is completely dysfunctional and cannot do the right thing are the people like you and I who are like, no.
Yeah.
You know, there was a Democrat attorney in there. There was a Republican attorney in there. At no time did they go get Linda Smith. Quite frankly, Linda Smith doesn't know what's going on in that building at any given time.
Yeah.
I mean, she's letting Russ answer the door.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's her fault too. I mean, she should just be, if Russ is found guilty, Linda's the one who should be filing all the reports. She should be saying, I didn't give him permission to act on my behalf.
Yeah.
She's the one that should be filing a criminal report against him.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, okay, so a couple things up here. John S. He's asked if you can name the vote machines. What are the vote machines that you guys use in Madison County?
Cindy Ponchett will put that up.
Cindy, can you put up is that what you did there? Did you put up the ES and S, whatever that is?
Which is different from what you have in Delaware County. There's only a handful in this state that use those, and Rebecca was pretty clear those were a big problem.
Yeah. The other thing, Thomas Morgan said, do you think you can get charges filed in Madison County?
Well, here's the thing. According to the agents outside of Madison County that have been in contact with some of us, I think it's a much bigger piece of the pie that's looking at this than us.
Yeah.
Because word on the street is people have been watching my Facebook page and going, and they're doing their own investigation, asking who I am. And they've done quite a background research on me. And of course they are federal agents, so they're allowed to do those things. So I said I was quite flattered. I didn't know anybody really was paying attention to my Facebook. But, in all fairness, with this whole thing, the things that the paper just blatantly missed, the Lincoln Club is not a Madison County Republican Party.
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't say
this
that.
here in a second.
Right. So they're treated a little differently under Indiana law, but he parallels them.
Yeah.
We don't understand why the paper didn't cover the requirements of when a committee is required to itemize.
Yeah.
Right. So he isn't a committee that's required to itemize because he takes in more than $5,000 a year. So he has to itemize. Plus, he contributes more than $1,000 to individual campaigns. So even if he was like one of these auxiliaries, if he was still doing, then he would still have to report.
Yeah.
You know, so he's the one. You know what my biggest question is? I don't understand how he's a Republican in good standing when he is sending out flyers time and time again against Republicans.
He's sending out. So the question is,
I mean, it wasn't just against me. He's done it against the Colts. He's done it against all kinds of people.
he sends out flyers against Republicans, and it says the state
In a
party
primary.
says you shall not campaign against, you should not campaign against Republicans. You can't be cavorting with Democrats and supporting Democrats and helping Democrats. And just last week, 2 weeks ago, he named a Democrat to sit in his place on the board. I cannot even begin to imagine why he would have done that. That seems so insane to me. He personally donated to a candidate who he then later said was not a Republican in good standing. So it's like that's the whole thing. We were trying to use that to say, look, this Republican is in good standing because you yourself donated to him. And they were like, nope, he's not in good standing. Okay, well then Russ Willis is donating to a candidate who he's saying is not in good standing. So what in the hell? That's crazy. That is crazy. Cecil said that up here said Phil Nichols was worse than Russ, but not by much. I'm going to say at various things, but I almost think that Russ is worse in a couple of aspects because he's just completely insane and oblivious to the fact of anyone else around him. At least Phil understood that there were times that other people won. There were times, even though Phil was the kingmaker and he liked the power and he wanted that, he understood there were times that he needed to take the loss. And Russ just won't do that. Russ will
cut off his nose to spite his face.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
He's nuts. Russ, in my opinion, and this is not Katherine obviously talking here because she's got, shit probably with state boards and stuff. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical person. I'm not a mental health person. But to me, from my layman opinion, just my opinion, Russ has something not quite right upstairs because he does some of the most crazy bullshit things that just a normal, healthy, sane person would not do. Just like when he said the Russ Willis statute, that thing, the fact that he said that to her, knowing she was videoing him, is nuts to me. That it's crazy that he would do that. And so just actions like that make me think that he's not all there. And it just, to me, that makes that he is power mad. That's exactly right. That's right. He's a megalomaniac. That's true.
He's just off.
Yeah, he threw his fit over my microphone. Yeah, that's right.
You need to come and like push his buttons a little bit.
Yeah, right. Push buttons. Because that guy is nuts. I mean,
I have a special picture here at the end of this little thing.
I cannot wait
for you guys. Okay. So
let's read through this article real quick for those that may not know or may not have seen this. So this article says a campaign finance complaint has been filed with the Madison County Election Board. This is the second big complaint that's been filed with the board in the last several weeks. The first was Rob Josiak's, then this one, and it's filed with the Madison County Election Board concerning the reporting of the Lincoln Club donations. Katherine Callahan filed the complaint with the election board against Republican Party's Lincoln Club and its officers. The complaint alleges that the Lincoln Club violated Indiana campaign finance law by not itemizing contributions in excess of $100, which the law is clear. It's clear. If you take in money over $100, you have to itemize it, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Traditionally, the Lincoln Club and the Democratic Party have not itemized contributions during such events as golf outings and traditional yearly campaign events. So that's the first thing that Katherine said she had a problem with. Right there, they're comparing it, they're putting it in place as the Republican Party. It's not the Republican Party, it is a political action committee. But furthermore, it doesn't matter that they've always done this. Traditionally, they've done this. Then that means traditionally they've done it wrong. All right. Callahan said Thursday she will be filing complaints against other campaign committees that don't itemize donations too. According to the complaint, state law requires that donations of 100 or more include the name and address. Listen, according to the complaint, state law. I wish he wouldn't have said that. I wish he would have said, according to state law, because all he would have needed to do is look up the law himself, and he could have factually written that.
According he had the 4 pages of my complaint. It stated the Indiana code in the complaint.
Sure. I'm just saying, if he wanted to be a due diligence reporter and make sure, that was not something that you just typed up, he could have easily looked this up himself, unless he just doesn't have that capability. But it goes on to say that state law requires that donations of 100 or more include the name and address of the donor, the amount, and the dates contributions are received. Callahan's complaint states that in 2024, Russ Willis, chairman of the Madison County Republican Party, in contribution of $14,820 for the Lincoln Club dinner. And that is an issue. It goes on to state that in 2023, there was a reported contribution of $8,240 from the annual dinner. The complaint states that in 2022, the contribution from the dinner was $7,600. It was $8,845 in 2021 and $7,700 in 2020. It lists several donations made by candidates for elective office in 2022 to reserve a table ranging from $180 to $600. They knew what the rules are, Callahan said. Last July, the election board were fining candidates for not knowing the rules. They only started 5 years ago not itemizing the donations, she said. We're not following Indiana codes. The truth is, you have to itemize the donations. Look, it's a pain in the ass, but everybody knows that's part of the game. It is what it is. Callahan's complaint states that the behavior obscures the source of campaign finance contributions and poses a threat to election integrity. Callahan alleges that Willis not only received donations, but signed off on the filing of the campaign finance forms. Willis declined to comment on Thursday. Well, of course he did. I want to go right back up here real quick before Katherine takes us back over. Listen to this. Callahan's complaint states that the behavior obscures the sources of campaign finance contributions and poses a threat to election integrity. Listen, if they're not going down through here and itemizing this, then Christopher Bilbrey could easily donate, say, $10,000 to the Lincoln Club. And I could say, hey, Russ, I'm going to give you this $10,000 for you to break up and give to your people. But I don't want my name to appear on there. And then once we get your people elected, I want the county to turn around and I want them to give me a contract to do all of the live streaming of the county events. And I want them to pay me $150,000 a year for doing that. And then he's like, okay, cool. And so I've paid 10. It's like pay for play. That's the reason that this shit can't happen, because it does not allow the voters to know that. So in that case, like, for example, I went through the elected folks here in Muncie and have found various people that have donated to campaigns. And then I went back and been able to look and been like, oh shit, they're now getting money from the city of Muncie. That's not good. And I'm able to draw that conclusion and show people that. And people are then able to use that in their mind to decide if they want to vote to reelect Ridenour or not vote to reelect him or whatever. That's why that stuff needs to be handled appropriately, because it does make this questionable process, and it's not good.
Well, and the thing is we can't seem to get records. We can't. I mean, Nicole right now, she's pulling her hair out. She put in to get somebody's voting history almost 3 weeks ago, and nobody will give her his voting history. I mean, it's like a 3-ring circus up there. I do not understand.
Who asked for it?
Nicole.
Nicole here commenting?
Yeah.
And she asked for what?
She's asked for a voting record. Well, really, she's asked for it for over 2 years, and they will not give her this guy's voting history.
Nicole, I know you've messaged me. Message me the name. Message me the information of that voting history that you're trying to get, and I will send a record request to Madison County tomorrow morning.
Because if she's right,
yeah.
This guy who ran wasn't even registered to vote when he put in to run. And he was living. So, I mean, you have to be in here for a year.
Yeah.
So, but they just absolutely will not give her that record.
If you're comfortable doing so, if you're comfortable doing so, if you want to send me that information, I will submit a request. I will submit that.
I'm sure she'll put the information right here on she's not afraid to, Okay. And I mean, it's just, she's got all kinds of nuts. Her thing is just nuts. So she filed a complaint 2 years ago, and Russ heard the case, never notified her, completed the case, never notified her, and she thought the case was still open. They're like, no, your case was heard. But don't you have to notify the person who filed the complaint?
You would think. Not in Madison County. Not in Madison County. Apparently.
But and so that's what I told Nicole. I said, well, I'm going to ask for him. And I thought I would mention something to you tonight and have you see if you can get him, but they just won't give it to her. She's even been up there. I'm like, they got to give that stuff to you. So, the other thing with this whole thing is, Thomas Morgan is pretty accurate. I mean, he's been around a long time, and he's like, are we ever going to be able to get this momentum to get this to stop? I'm with Tom. There's a little bit of me that's a little skeptical too, but we have to try. I mean, wrong is wrong. I mean,
when do the precinct committee people that just won in May, when do they take over?
They've taken over, but they're not. The vote for Russin isn't until March. Now they could call a special meeting.
Sure.
But somebody would have to head that up.
But yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to end up doing at this time. I mean, the article was an okay article. I think it could have done better. I will have to say that the majority of the people, what they said is the no comment that Russ made pretty much sums up he's guilty.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if Russ is like, well, I'm just going to amend these records and it's all going to be good. No.
He's screwed at this point.
Yeah, because and here's the thing: 2 of these are federal elections that he's done. So it's bigger than just the county. These are he's got 2 that are federal elections. So and that's the thing. I don't know why the paper doesn't highlight more for the people. I have no idea why they don't. I don't know why they don't write for the people. And that's the whole thing. What I'm most nervous about when Tom makes that comment is a state trooper was their treasurer on this one.
Yeah.
His campaign finances are all itemized. Why did he think this was okay? I don't understand. And so that's another thing is if the state police are the ones who investigate it, well, now they're going to have an internal problem because you're going to be investigating one of your brothers.
Yeah.
So in the end, why is it my responsibility to take on this burden?
Right.
Why is it your responsibility to hold,
Yeah.
Delaware County accountable, Henry County accountable?
Yeah.
Why have you taken it upon yourself to believe enough in Madison County to let me come on your show?
Yeah.
But you have. And so at some point the people have to make a stance and have to make a change. And this is where we got to start somewhere. And that's where we are. If they cannot do their jobs, just like I posted on, if Linda Smith cannot clean up that office, then she needs to clean out her office. If she cannot clean up that office, then she needs to clean out her
You guys
office.
need to get that on shirts or something.
Yeah, because this
that's
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and tired of hearing this. Well, I haven't been in this role. I don't know what I'm doing. I need a free pass. Oh, give me a break, for heaven's sake.
She's going to be like leaving. She's going to have done her time, and she's like, I'm still here. I'm just learning.
Yes. And that's Olivia Pratt. I mean, this is who they pick. These people who want to constantly say, I'm just learning. I'm new at this. Well, you know what? They have classes. Go to them. I don't know what else to tell you. That's what you do.
It's not that bloody hard. They make it so much harder than it needs to be. Well, and I'll be honest, all the bullshit that they do is harder than just doing the job the right way.
Well, and that's the other thing that, I want Linda to be crystal clear. I'm not going away. I'm not. And I'm going to continue on this journey because you decided to let people run in the primary illegally.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. When you said to me, you checked with Brad King, and he's the one that said, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's Indiana code. Well, Brad King is saying otherwise. So, Linda, you're going to be producing me your correspondence with Brad King. And if it was a phone conversation, then I guess you're going to have to be producing something even more, because I'm tired of her referencing Brad King. I'm tired of it.
So have you been communicating with Brad King?
Here's what I get when it's not Brad King, it's the woman that's down there. And she's like, well, we really don't play a role in the election.
Would you know her name if I said it?
Yeah.
Valerie Warchall?
Yes.
Okay. Have you talked to Matt Kochivar?
No.
Okay. So here's what the deal is. Matt Kochivar and Valerie Warchall are the two attorneys for the election division of the Indiana Secretary of State's office. Brad King sits like a step above them. I don't honestly know. When you said woman, that's the reason I thought that. Because it's like anything else. Every position in there, you have to. There's a Republican and a Democrat. Obviously, you get that. And so, Kochivar is a Democrat attorney, and Valerie Warchall. It's like, where are these people's names? Where'd they get these names at? But Valerie Warchall, she is the Republican. And that's what I was telling you the other day. And it sucks that technically what she's telling you is right. They always say that, when it comes to issues of town, city, or county elections, that the election board is basically God. It's the last straw. There's no higher authority. And so that part does ring true with everything I've always been told. That being said, they can lay out the way that it's supposed to go, and they specifically know when something isn't going right. And Brad King can easily tell her Yeah, you shouldn't have been doing this. This was the wrong. This is right. You need to do this. And he should be doing that. He should be counseling her on proper steps that she should be taking. And I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he's not going to tell her wrong.
Oh,
You know,
but according to Linda Smith, she said that Brad King said, well, as long as he had check marks there, the intent was there. You really don't have to have initials. And I'm thinking to myself, if
I
Brad
would like
King's
to,
advising you this, then we got a problem with Brad King.
yeah, I would
And
like to
so,
see if that's, I would, she should present that if that's an email or whatever. I would like to see that.
yeah. So the whole picture is going to get, I mean, here's the thing. You can stay with this burning ship, all of you,
Yeah,
Brad
right.
King, Warchaw. You can all do that because you're just all going to be implicated in this. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. The number one thing Linda Smith is going to do, I guarantee it, is she's not going to fall on that sword by herself.
Yes.
She's going to say, well, I talked to Brad King. Brad King told me to do this. I talked to Russ Willis. He told me to do this. Well, guess what, Linda? The buck stops with you.
Yeah.
I don't care if they tell you to jump off a bridge. You're going to be the one that's going to be held accountable. So if you continue to keep looking the other way, then I'm not going to be the only person who's going to be filing. There are going to be other people
Yeah.
who are going to be exhausted and tired of this. I can't tell you how many videos I have from inside the polls of Linda not running a show correctly. We had machines not going up on time. We had machines that people were having to write their names in on the ballots. There were lots of issues at this last election. It's coming. And I'm telling you, if there's so much scrutiny under the general election. If you screw this up in November, and after all the hubbub that we've had on you, Linda, people are going to come at you at 100 miles per hour. And that's right, Tom. Everybody's going to throw everybody on the bus. Let me tell you something. They're all going to be singing. That's why they don't want Steve Sumner's found.
Yeah.
They don't want Steve Sumner's found because Steve is going to make every deal under the sun. If I give you this information on the Lycans, can I get this? If I give you this information on Russ, can I get you this? That's why they're hiding him.
Yeah.
That's why they're pouring so much money into him, because he knows too much.
Yeah.
And so, this just becomes, a rat race. And I just don't know at what point it's going to tip the scales. So with that being said, I have to keep coming.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
The people
Clearly.
have to keep coming. And I want to show you that there is no shame in Russ Willis and what he thinks about these complaints.
Oh,
Kate, you have that
absolutely.
picture? I sent Kate a picture.
Hey,
This was just
Kate,
taken. Yeah.
hold on. Sorry. She's doing serious work down there in the bottom.
I can see.
Can you come up here for 1 second while you're doing what you're doing? Is that possible?
Yeah, I can do two things at once. I can talk and download a picture.
She's a mom.
Oh.
So what do you need? I'm sorry, I'm sewing.
Yeah.
Do you see that picture that I sent you, Kate, of Russ at that? This was taken Thursday night after the article was published.
Yeah, I'm getting it right now. Here you go. There it is.
He has no shame.
I think, never mind. The air just kicked on. I was going to have you talk to her for a second when I went and kicked on the air because I was getting ready to pass out.
This is on Russ Willis's Facebook page. Hey, Russ, even though you have me blocked, I got friends.
God, state Republican Party event in Indy with state chairman Randy Head. Our next governor, Mike Braun. Oh, God.
I mean, Tom Morgan's correct. I mean, look, this is how crazy corrupt this is. He's got no shame. Do these people not have a problem that he just kept somebody from watching the election canvassing? What is wrong with
these people? Don't know that. Randy Head does not know what's going on with Russ. He thinks everything is running smooth. Everything is A-okay, no issue. Braun could care less about what's going on with Russ as long as Russ is willing to give him what he needs when he needs it. Hop to everything. That's all they care about. It's I I've said it the other day about something, and I don't know what it is, but this is almost, it's kind of the same thing. For those of you that have watched The Sopranos, it's like when Paulie is starting to kind of wobble on his loyalty to Tony, and he's starting to talk to Johnny Sack, and he's like, it's when he's in prison, and he tells the joke to Johnny Sack that Ralphie said about Johnny Sack's wife, and he's starting to like go over there, and he's like, he keeps saying, tell Carmine, the big boss over in New York, Carmine. And then he bumps into Carmine at a party, and Carmine doesn't know who the hell he is. And he learns all of a sudden that Johnny Sack has never been telling anyone else about him, so no one knows about him. That's what's going on. To those people, Russ Willis is a nobody. Russ Willis is a peon that when they say jump, he says how high. And he does. He licks their feet. He licks their boots. He does what they want, and he provides results to them. And the second that he's not useful to them, they would be gone with him. He's not important. Russ is a big fish in a small pond. In the big pond, Russ is nobody.
Well, and I'm disappointed that the Secretary of State hasn't come in here.
What?
I'm disappointed the Secretary of State hasn't come in here. I mean, after all, he just spent almost $40,000 on that manual of we got to have fair elections and they've got to be. Well, you just spent all that money. So where are you? You gonna put your money where your mouth is?
I think that there tends to be a high number of. How should I say this? There tends to be a high number of women and a lot of times it's younger women that tend to be in the various clerk's offices. And I've noticed that Diego Morales likes to spend a lot of time touring those offices and hanging out and taking pictures with all of the girls. And I don't think Diego Morales was not my choice. I was not a fan of his before the election. I'm not a fan of his now. I think he's been a horrible Secretary of State, and we're going to get very little help from him.
And I supported Diego. I did. I'm going to tell you that. But I am so disgusted and so disappointed. And he's got some young lawyer, Prentice. I don't know what his name's Prentice, I believe, who has been a huge disappointment. He makes the whole situation just 100 times worse. They're just like, well, it's just to the election board. Then who are you? Why do we need a Secretary of the State? Why are the taxpayers paying?
Yeah, right. This? Yeah.
I have no idea why we are paying these people a salary, because that is their job.
Yeah. Every time we talk to you, you tell us how you do nothing, and you're of no use. So what exactly are you getting paid to do?
Yeah, and then you spend $40,000 of tax dollar payers' money on some manual that you want a whistleblower. You got people blowing the whistle, and you guys can't seem to come out from your office. You should be showing up at those election boards. You should be saying, well, this is a big deal. We better go see this. I don't know. Do you need crowns? I don't know, because it's driving me crazy that people cannot do the right thing, but they want all these titles.
Yeah.
It's just craziness. And so we're hoping that, we're going to get some more things passed down to us. There's a huge story brewing over here, but I'm probably going to need a little bit of your help.
Okay.
And Russ, I sure do hope that your time cards and all your other great things are in order. So we've been on the phone with the state. Everybody's been looking things up. So I hope all his ducks are in a row. That
would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's right. They keep eating the crowns. I mean, this is the thing. This is just the craziest thing. And I'll tell you, I don't understand why everybody keeps drinking Russ Willis's Kool-Aid. I have no idea. Because the Kool-Aid is going to kill you guys.
Yeah.
This is awful how you have behaved. I don't even know how these people sleep at night.
Yeah.
Is the election board chairman a paid position?
No.
So
So the election board, each county has an election board, and the election board is made up of 3 people. It's made up of a representative of the Republican Party, a representative of the Democrat Party, and the elected clerk. So if your clerk is a Democrat, you've got 2 Democrats and a Republican. If your elected clerk is a Republican, you've got 2 Republicans and a Democrat. And that's,
now wait a minute.
that's the deal.
But if you're in Madison
But
County,
if you're in Madison County, they're all Democrats sometimes.
you got a Republican chair
yeah.
putting a Democrat chair in your position.
Dude,
That
still
should tell
so
the entire
weird.
county the whole show.
That's
There's
so
no party
freaking
lines
weird.
in Madison County.
That's so weird. That is so weird. That is so weird. It blows me away. I don't understand.
I want to say this. As I was watching Rick Gardner's finances and I was watching Todd Culp's finances, Rick Gardner has hidden his property taxes. So clearly he's got something to hide, because if your property taxes are all paid, just show it. It's not a big deal. You've already played your card. We get it. So how are you loaning yourself all this money on your campaign finances? And then you got Todd Culp, who just finished a $500,000 bankruptcy in March. How are you loaning yourself all this money? Because I tell you right now, if I was a bank and I was seeing all that money you were loaning yourself in the election, I would be coming back. And I think the banks can come back within a certain amount of time if you're, because they're going to be like, well, where were you hiding this money? How were you able to put that money into your account?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, that cash that you took allegedly from the lichens and place that in there, I hope you can defend that when you're questioned about how you could file a $500,000 bankruptcy and now you're making cash donations. I hope you've got some type of money trail to show where that money came from.
Oh, yeah.
And so this will be real interesting. And oh, that's right. You see, when the lichens said that bitch cost us $60,000, that pretty much played the cards that that's who was donating to those 2 campaigns.
Yeah.
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 But you know what? That was a win for me. That means they have 60,000 less,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'll be interested to see, you just got to follow the money because they have to pay that loan back.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting where that money flows to pay that back. You think just because you're handing it hand by hand, when you take money out like that, people are watching.
Yeah.
There are people who can get into your bank accounts.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Heather Bailey did talk to me when I was in the election office. She said on one of my posts, she had her name badge on in one of those posts where I said they didn't have the name badges when we were talking about Joswiak. I still haven't had the time to go back and see that, but I'll give her an apology if that is correct. So I want to mention that. So I haven't forgot about you, Heather. I'm even talking about it here on the podcast that I'll go see if I can find that picture. The problem is I post so much that it's really hard sometimes for me to go back and find stuff. So, but I'll look for it when I have more time. I got both girls off to college, so we should have a lot more time on our hands. But I'm impressed at some of the people who came on here tonight.
Yeah.
Some of these people are big players in the county who have stepped up here to speak out.
Yeah, that's good. That's what Madison County needs, people. I mean, here's the deal. You guys, I've been saying this basically since you've been coming on. Madison County is kind of at a precipice. You're right here, and it's not 100% clinched. You guys don't have it 100% clinched, but neither do the other side either. And it's kind of rocking. It's rocking. And really, at this point, it could go either way. I just really think that if the people just continue pushing and push a little bit more, a little bit harder, that it will topple over and you guys will be victorious, but it's going to take more people getting involved. It's going to take more people asking questions. Every day I see people say things like, I just moved to Delaware County, or I've lived in Delaware County for 17 years. Where can I follow stuff about local politics? I've lived in Madison County for 25 years, and I don't know where I can get any information on what's going on in the government. And I'm like, dude, you got to open your eyes. You got to dig. You know what I mean? You got to look. It's out here. We're out.
Go to the meetings.
Go to the meeting.
Yeah. Go. If you just go to the meetings, you'll see it right there. If you have a good judge character, you know who's lying. And I'm going to tell you something. I have no idea who's going to take over this county council in January. I have none. But I will tell you this. The entire House of Cards is going to fall starting in January, because I'm going to give it to Ben Gale. He can handle the meeting. He usually does his job to shut down the people. He does do that. I don't know that there is anyone who's going to be able to do that with the new incoming people.
Right.
And so, I mean that in both ways, because I think the new guards are going to allow the people to talk.
I hope.
And they're not going to stop them in mid-sentence, so all will be exposed.
Yeah.
And so, it's just timing. And this is a game of stamina.
It is.
It's a game of stamina.
Yeah, it's one step forward and two steps back, and you have to enjoy the little victories. You have to be able to relish the small things, because they're few and far between, and it's a lot of, well, we didn't win this battle, but we'll win the war type of thing.
And that's the thing. People are on social media saying, oh, you didn't win your election. Well, did I really lose?
No.
I mean, because honestly, the more I throw at them, the more mistakes they make.
Sure. Madison County lost, and the bad guys lost, because it would have been better for them if you would have been elected.
Oh yeah, because I would have had to shut up. Rebecca Cruz is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would, and so we're going to keep, and this is the thing that people are asking. They're like, so how do you like playing chess? I'm like, well, I think we're playing checkers, but it's okay. I mean, I really do. And then they said, no, I think you're playing chess. And I said, well, I think what's the interesting part is these guys have never had a queen come to the board. I'm not going away. And just like
you're playing chess and they're playing lawn darts.
Well, and Cindy said, do you have a real job, Katherine Callahan?
Yeah,
Could
right.
you imagine if I didn't? The damage that I would be causing right now?
Yeah.
And so, it is what it is, but the Democrats seem to have more stamina. Well, that's because they're not holding any seats.
Yeah, right.
Somebody got on social media today and they were going off on me saying that I'm always coming after the Republican Party and that I'm not sharing fairly. Well, I wrote back to them and I said, here's a fun fact. I do share with all of Madison County. And, there are always three sides to every story. But the true fun fact is that no Democrats hold a seat in Madison County, so it's all Republicans I'm talking about. What am I going to say about a Democrat? They don't even hold a seat right now.
Yeah, right.
I'm not if a Democrat was up there and they weren't doing their stuff, I'd be calling them out. I don't have a problem with that.
Sure. And look, I get the same. I get the same shit for people in Delaware County, or people say, "Oh, you're just a Democrat." I'm like, no, dude. I'm as conservative, constitutional conservative as it gets. Conservative libertarian. I'm as in tow with the founding fathers that as one could be. The problem is I don't buy into I love Reagan, but I don't buy into that whole 11th commandment. Thou shalt not speak ill of a Republican, of a fellow Republican. That's bullshit. To me, if they're on my side, they're gonna, if you're in the wrong, you're gonna get it, and that's just it. And there is nothing to be proud of the Republicans in Indiana on the local level, in various cities and counties all throughout central and east central Indiana and beyond. There's nothing to be proud of. There's nothing to be proud of at the state level. And honestly, our elected officials at the national level from Indiana, there's nothing to be proud of. So to hell with all that,
Well, and there's a guy on here named John Schlick. I'm sorry if I'm saying your last name wrong. And he said, do I think things would be different if it was a nonpartisan? I believe I would have won hands down in the primary. I mean, I only lost by 500 and some votes. And there were lots of Democrats who wanted to vote my way, but they had to pull a ticket because they're Democrats. I mean, and we didn't have a Democrat opponent for the auditor's office. So it would have been a better race if they could do that. So I do believe we would have some different outcomes if we had nonpartisan elections.
Yeah.
And for somebody else who put a sign up here who said they were talking about Republicans running as Democrats. No, in Madison County, it's Democrats running as Republicans, because really a Democrat, it's going to be hard for a Democrat to win in Madison County right now. It just is. And unfortunately, too many people go straight ticket.
Yeah.
But I will say that my daughter did register to vote. As she's watched this whole thing, she now sees, the importance. She's only 19, but she sees the importance of this is really screwed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, I want to talk John S. I want to make sure, is it you who's been asking if I can talk? Like, are you the one that I'm trying to connect with someplace like out west? If so, call me on the number I gave you. Call me tomorrow at your convenience. Other than when I'm getting a haircut, I will be free all day, and I'll be getting a haircut earlier in the morning. So if that's you, call me tomorrow and I will be available.
And like Tom said, we have Republicans and we have rhinos. You just have to decide who is what and where.
Right.
That's the whole thing. So we'll just have to wait and see, but hopefully I'll be able to come back to you. I haven't been, Ken did ask me, have I been notified by the election board of a hearing? No. I got nothing. So we'll just have to wait and watch for the posting.
Well, you or someone will need to continue calling Linda's office and making sure they're not going to do one of those things where like they did to Nicole. Yeah.
So I'm just going to start emailing Heather and saying every week, what are we doing? Where are we at with this?
Yeah.
And so we'll have to see that. So, but I thank you for letting me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And Nicole's right. Nicole Johnson's right. I mean, he should be doing a better job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The prosecutor. I mean, look at the prosecutor. This is an epic failure of Sumner. Epic. Yeah, why can no one find this man?
It's disgusting. Yeah. I don't understand. It's really gross that he's been just on the run and been allowed to do whatever the hell it is that he's doing. And you know what? I mean, it's sad and it's bad to think about this, but who else is he victimizing out there?
Oh, absolutely.
Where, he's on the run. Is he victimizing people in Mexico, or is he victimizing people in Colorado, or wherever it is that he's on the hideout at?
And how many children? Yeah. How many children?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, this is just awful to watch and see that he's been able to do this for so long. And then you see George Likens joke about it. Oh yeah, we're giving him money all the time. What is wrong with you people? This is not a joking matter.
That is absolutely nuts. I didn't know that he was doing that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was Jamie Lynn who confronted him at a polling site when she was working for me for the primary, and she asked him, and then he's like, "I'm sorry, do I know you?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, I'm Senator Finn's
Oh,
wife."
what the
And he's like,
hell?
"Oh, really?" Yeah. I mean, he's just cracking jokes. I mean, like it's no big thing. And, about, oh yeah, we all love Steve. Oh yeah, he's just wonderful. Yeah, yeah, we're giving him money. That is just disturbing and disgusting.
Yeah.
And then Darlene walks up while Jamie's working the polls for me and goes, "You're crazy. You are a crazy woman." What, because she spoke the truth? The only crazy is the Likens. The fact that they're even protecting this man.
Yeah.
George Likens bought Sumner's property for cash. Jamie is pulling together every bit of money for her kids to live on. And you're giving this money to Sumner.
Yeah.
And,
That's
Jamie got
crazy.
none of it. I mean, this is the craziness behind all of it. And so this will be interesting. We will find Sumner, and I think
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
have a lot more pieces of the puzzle. Some people say that he's dead. No, this man loves himself too much. He's not going to hurt himself.
Yeah.
I don't find that anywhere remotely in the cards,
Yeah.
So anyways, but thanks for letting me,
Yeah. No
take
problem.
over your show tonight. Thanks for everybody who watched tonight and made comments. They were great comments. I appreciate Madison County very much.
Yeah. No problem. I appreciate having you on. And anytime we'll have you back.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our contributing correspondent, Dr. Katherine Callahan. We're getting ready to roll out of here, but before we do, I just want to briefly bring up to you the information about these two police officers. So after the court ordered their ruling on Friday, I broke the news Saturday, and then we spoke about this last night. The Star Press finally was able to push this into their newspaper, their digital copy of the newspaper today, and there is an interesting comment from the chief in the newspaper, and so I want to bring this to your all's attention in case you have not seen this. Let me share this to you guys here. This says judge orders reinstatement of Muncie police officers fired over cocaine allegations. A Delaware County judge has ordered Muncie Police Department to reinstate 2 city officers fired in February over their alleged dealings with cocaine. The officers, Lance Clay and Jonathan Powell, had filed a legal challenge of the proceedings that led to their dismissals. Delaware County Circuit Court 4 Judge John Fike on Friday issued a ruling that ordered the MPD to immediately reinstate officers Clay and Powell to their prior positions within the Muncie Police Department, which we knew. We obviously talked about that. However, in a statement on Monday, Chief Sloan said his department is currently examining their options and they will pursue all legal recourses, including an appeal of the ruling. They're considering appealing the ruling. Police contract requires treatment options before dismissal. Fike ruled that under the terms of the local Fraternal Order of Police Lodges contract with the city, first-time offenders had an option to enter a mandatory substance abuse treatment program and then be able to retain their jobs. Both Clay and Powell entered and completed the substance abuse treatment programs after Sloan filed charges against them March of 2023 with the Muncie Police Merit Commission. The FOP contract prohibits termination of the officers and required further discipline ceases after Clay and Powell successfully completed the treatment. Fike ruled. Those charges were based on drug screens that resulted in presumptive positive tests for an illegal substance, Fike wrote. The charges alleged the office each obtained and ingested the illegal substance on January 30th, 2023. In firing the officers on February 8th, the Merit Commission found Clay and Powell had engaged in conduct unbecoming an officer and called their actions both felonious and immoral. They had been under suspension since the charges were filed against them. With the commission in his ruling, Fike called the Merit Commission's decision to fire the officers an abuse of discretion, arbitrary and capricious, and contrary to the law. The judge also ordered that the officers be reimbursed for their salaries and other benefits lost since the time they were suspended without pay. In his statement on Monday, Sloan said the notion of police officers consorting with criminal element, conspiring to obtain illegal narcotics, and eventually ingesting those narcotics is offensive to the very core of policing values. Our code of ethical conduct and the profession, it erodes the policing values, our code of ethical conduct and the profession as a whole. The trust that the citizens place in their policing officials is crucial and must be revered and protected at all costs. No criminal charges. Related criminal charges were not filed against the officers. In this situation, Sloan said the officers in question had to be removed from service immediately for public safety reasons, and criminal charges were not an option due to the circumstances. Irrespective of Judge Fike's ruling, the Indiana State Law Enforcement Training Board is in the process of determining if these two individuals will remain officers in the state of Indiana. The police chief said that he believed that the portion of the FOP contract dealing with the substance abuse was meant to apply those battling alcoholism or a chemical dependency stemming from bodily injury or chronic pain, perhaps stemming from work-related injuries. So, for example, if a police officer tears his ACL while working, and he is on narcotic pain medication and becomes addicted, or if an officer is dealing with anxiety and starts taking Xanax and starts over-medicating or becomes addicted, then that's the things that the department is alleging was meant for in this ordinance, in this, not ordinance, but in this, in the agreement, not the fact that officers were going out and engaging in a drug deal, possessing the drug and ingesting the drug. That was not what it was meant for, is what he's saying. The article was meant to protect officers in these types of dire situations and should not be applied to those who felonious conspire to obtain and ingest cocaine or other illegal substances for recreational purposes, Sloan said. Powell joined the police department in 2016. Clay had been an officer since 2018. For a time after his February dismissal from the police department, Powell pursued a job with the Muncie Fire Department. And so that's the article that is there from the Star Press. Now, I want to let you guys see this because I have a copy of both of the I have a copy of both of the contracts. So the first contract is okay. The first contract is from basically the 4th of January 2021 for a 3-year period from January 2021 through December 31st of 2023. Okay, and I want to put this up here so you guys can see this. Okay. Down here on page 35 is the Article 38 drug and alcohol policy. And this is from the old contract that this was under. So I'm going to jump down here to page 35. Performance of work. Okay, here we go. Drug and alcohol policy, philosophy and purpose. And it's here where it says the first offense, submission to treatment by the officer, section 38.2. Early recognition and treatment of substance abuse is important for successful rehabilitation for reduced personal, family, and social disruption. This is also important to the operation of the department. I read this last night. I just want to show you the difference between this being in here in the contract from January 2021 through December 2023. I want to show you that it is here. It is actually here, and it was signed off on by the president, Qualls of the FOP, and Dan Ridenauer, and they both signed it, and the council voted to approve it, yada, yada, yada. All right. If the officer fails to complete okay, so right here, let me show you. If the officer is found to have a dirty screen or self-reports, they are given the opportunity to participate in a drug treatment program. If they voluntarily participate, then no other disciplinary action goes on from there if they stay clean. Okay, that happens. They are.
Hold on.
Yep.
It says if they self-report or have a dirty screen.
Yep.
What would be included in a screen, please?
What do you mean? What would be included?
What would they test for?
Marijuana, cocaine, pills.
So illegal
meth.
drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, so this, because it can't test for alcohol, can it?
I don't. A drug test wouldn't test for alcohol. No.
Okay. Would it test? Would they Xanax and the stuff, Percocet and things like that? Would those be part of a standard screen?
Oh yeah.
Testing for those.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's testing for both legal and illegal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because so there's a couple different things. If you're on narcotic painkillers, you like if you have a surgery and you're on narcotics, you can't be on the road carrying a gun. You can't be driving.
Right.
So they have so technically, like you that's the problem with like Vicodin or Percocet or Lortab, Norco. They're legal, but then they're often abused as well. So if you are, let's say you're an officer and you get involved in an officer involved shooting. Every time an officer is in an officer-involved shooting, they immediately go do a blood draw to see if the officer had anything illegal in their system. If the officer, God forbid, would have cocaine in their system, or if they would have Vicodin or Xanax in their system, that would be a problem.
That would be a problem. Okay, I'm just saying that the chief seemed to say that this was for, legal shit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But they're saying a dirty screen and a screen test for illegal shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say he's full of crap.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get what he's getting at. That, the thought of an officer self-medicating because they've seen, some horrible shit. And so they're drinking alcohol and taking Xanax.
I get that.
That's one thing. Thinking that an officer's going out here and buying cocaine or heroin, that's quite possibly a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, I get where he's coming from, but it doesn't the contract specifies like what you're saying, so they're kind of up a creek without a paddle,
They're
in
up
my
the creek
opinion.
on that one, I think.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
okay, I just wanted to be
Yeah,
clear
yeah. No, yeah.
that I was not mistaken.
Nope, that's good. You're
Okay,
right
thank
on.
you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, that's good. That's good. Right, that's perfect. And so it tells them that they can voluntarily quit employment with the city, they can retire, or they can enter the mandatory substance abuse treatment program, yada, 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 and they must do it. And if they don't, then they can only do 1 or 2, if whatever. And so that's what goes on. Like Timing Issue says, watch the new contract they settle on this year will be totally different. Well, to that, I say, let's go look at the one. See, that was the contract. This contract that we were just looking at was for January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. So these officers' actions happened under this contract. When they negotiated for the contract that went in place for January 2021 through December 31st of 2024, when they did the one right after this one, let's take a look and see if it changed. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that it probably changed. See, this one was approved. This one was approved on September 11th, 2023, and it went into effect. This one was for January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. This is the same contract that AFSCME had been screwed out of getting because they wouldn't work with them. MPD got a contract and MFD got a contract, but AFSCME did not. Let's go down here and look at the table of contents for drug issues. Drug and alcohol policy, Article 38, page 35. Let's go down here and look. Drug and alcohol policy. Can you guys see this very well? Let me blow it up one more time. Substance abuse is a concern because of its relationship to adverse effects upon the job performance, productivity, sickness, accidents, and injury in the workplace. The illegal use of drugs and the use of alcohol during work time tends to make an affected employee less productive, less reliable, and prone to greater absenteeism, and threatens the Muncie Police Department's ability to function properly. The department cannot tolerate any use of alcohol or any illegal drugs use which might impair the health and well-being of its employees. All department employees have the right to work in a drug-free environment and work with the persons free from the effects of substance abuse. The city and FOP Lodge 87 agree that the use of alcohol during working time is prohibited. The city and FOP Lodge 87 also agree that the use of illegal drugs and the abuse of prescribed drugs is prohibited. See, so what they've done is they've now broke this into two things. They broke it into illegal drugs, meth, heroin, cocaine, PCPs, acid, yada, 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 yada. And the abuse of prescribed drugs is prohibited at all times. Further, the parties hereto agree that being under the influence of alcohol or illegal drugs during working time is prohibited. The city shall set forth policy and procedure governing random and for-cause drug testing. An employee shall be required to submit to an immediate drug or alcohol test where a reasonable suspicion exists that the employee is using, consuming, or under the influence of illegal drugs, alcohol, or is abusing prescribed drugs during work time. Officers may be drug tested at any time it is deemed necessary by the chief of police or the chief's designee. The employee will be provided with the reasoning. Officers will submit to drug and alcohol testing pursuant to department policy for vehicle crashes involving city-owned vehicles. Exceptions to this article may be considered on an individual basis by the city. Okay. 39, Employee Assistance Program. Now, this is very important, okay? This is where the change occurred. So that's their policy on drugs. All right. The police department recognizes that an employee may have personal problems that may affect their health and well-being, as well as an impairment to deleterious effects of the individual's job performance abilities. The FOP and the city support and encourage the individual and her family to seek meaningful and effective assistance through confidential use of the Employee Assistance Program facilities. The goal of the EAP is to restore an individual to health and full recovery. Personal and health problems such as alcohol or drug abuse, stress, marital, family, emotional, medical, legal, financial, and or career can be effectively dealt with through the use of EAP and outside referrals. Some of these problems are recognized as a disease by the medical profession, which require skilled rehabilitative assistance treatment. The FOP and the city are concerned with the problems which definitely and repeatedly impair the job performance and dependability of the individual and the health, safety, and interpersonal relationships of all members in contact with the affected individual. Voluntary utilization of the program is encouraged with the assurance of confidentiality and job security. Confidentiality of all records of the employee pertaining to participation will be maintained. All persons participating in this program are expected to meet existing job performance standards and established work rules within the time frame of this agreement. Exceptions to this policy will be considered on an individual basis and decided by mutual agreement with the FOP and the city. The program does not replace established disciplinary procedures of the individual's access to the grievance procedures provided for in this contract. Individuals who continually refuse or reject remedial assistance and or treatment will be handled accordingly to the police department's disciplinary procedures. For an employee who voluntarily participates in this program for substance abuse and successfully completes the said program, the cost of the program shall be paid in accordance with the present health insurance coverage. For mandatory participation in this for substance abuse where the employee successfully completes said program, the cost shall be paid in accordance with the employee's present health insurance coverage. If the employee chooses not to complete the program, including required aftercare, the employee will pay 100% of the cost of the program and be subject to disciplinary action. Police department personnel and their family may call the representative directly or through their immediate supervisor if they so desire for help in assessing personal problems. Appropriate training of the EAP personnel will be maintained to ensure the credibility and professionalism of the program. The City of Muncie Police Department shall pay for the appropriate training, and there shall be 4 EAP unless the FOP mutually agrees upon another number. It is the intent of this program to maintain the highest professional standards and safeguarding the privacy and personnel dignity of all who seek or accept services. The representative will be elected by the body of the FOP and will be given time off to allow for preparation. Time spent on EAP will be considered as duty time. Okay. So there is basically the same situation and how it changed from the 3-year contract to the 1-year contract. And I'm telling you,
how did it change?
What?
Doesn't sound like much changed. Get into a program, pass the program.
Well, the difference is it put a lot more on. It was a lot less on like if you're found out. There was nothing really said that. It said it would be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. But it sounds like in this situation, if you self-report, you would be okay. So it changed a little bit in wording, but I would say that this
They gave
was their,
themselves an out clause.
yeah, yes.
Will
Yeah.
be dealt with on an individual basis, but other than that, it doesn't sound like anything's different. And these officers would still be in the same state that they're in now because they self-reported.
Yes. Yeah.
And completed the program.
Yeah. Timing issues. I didn't see this up here. Timing issues just wrote, rumors are that AFSCME has filed a lawsuit against the city. Well, I will say this. If there is anybody connected to that can talk off record, I would highly recommend and ask or hope that anyone connected with that would call me tomorrow at that person's discretion and would fill me in on what's going on to the best of their ability, because I would like to hear what's happening there and would like to, even if off the record to something I can't report on, I would be interested to know what's going on there. So yeah, I'm definitely interested. So this will be interesting to see how this is handled and how this goes forward. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. So it's not like these officers were just welcomed back with open arms. Yay, you guys are back. Wonderful. We're going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars and you guys are now on duty for Monday. It seems like MPD is trying to fight this. And again, to me, Sloan knew about at least one of these officers way back in the first quarter of 2020, and he sat on the information for nearly 3 years. So the big bosses are in charge of this catastrophe, and now it's just sad that the city of Muncie has to foot the bill for their missteps. So that's that. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to make sure that you're aware that obviously today's date is Monday, August 19th. That means this is the 231st day without any correspondence from Muncie City Councilor at large, Dale Basham. He has not responded to my most recent email. He has not responded to my most recent Facebook message. He has not responded to my most recent text message. He will not answer the phone. He will not speak with me. He will not talk to me about what's going on. He will not give me information. He does not fit the role of an elected counselor, and he needs to resign. He needs to resign. So I wanted to put that out there and put that forward. So that is there. Timing issue says the MPD will be now subject to retaliation now. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. So 231 days without correspondence from an elected official. That is really gross. Hey, folks, as we get ready to wind out of here, if you could hit these things over here, I would greatly appreciate it. Kate would be madly in love with you all if you could do those things. She's blowing you kisses. You just can't see it. I meant she's blowing you kisses, comma, delay, cough, choke. So if you guys could help out with that, we would greatly appreciate it. You guys are amazing. I do want to say a big thanks to Katherine for coming on and talking to us. I am working on the solar show that we're going to do this week. I'm working on a couple of other things. And what was the big thing I was going to tell you? Oh, I talked to a reporter today from channel. Well, I can't tell you from what channel. I talked to a reporter from one of the indie channels, and we were doing some plotting and talking. So there are some things in the works, folks. So that's important. Also, Wednesday at 10:06, Rob Kendall is going to announce who he is endorsing for governor. I have blasted him everywhere. I've texted him privately and said, hey, you need to go with Rainwater, man. I'm going to be tuning in. We will talk about that Wednesday evening. So tune in, because that'll be a big topic of conversation. Also, the Democrat convention kicked off. The Democrat National Convention kicked off tonight. It's been chaos, been insanity outside, a lot of things going on. Biden spoke tonight. I don't know how that worked because I was preparing for the show. I'm going to watch that as soon as I'm off. But apparently after he spoke, him and Jill left, and they're not going to be there the rest of the week. They're not going to listen to Kamala. They're not going to listen to her take her big speech and her big, day in the spotlight. So I think that's interesting and that's telling. All right, you guys are fantastic. Take care of yourselves. Have a great evening. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you back here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. I have to go pee. Good night. God bless. Goodbye. Kate, can you turn everything off? Stay here. I'll be back. You guys, good night. Bye.
Run, Kristopher, run!
Everybody turn on your watch,